Good afternoon everybody, welcome to my presentation today. I'm going to be talking to you about a research proposal that I've developed and hoping to implement in my grade 4 classroom here in the remote Pilbara town of Tom Price in Western Australia. So I'm interested in looking at whether the targeted delivery of social management instruction, practice and review procedures can reduce the incidence of poor behaviour, including calling out, disobedience, poor concentration and disrespect within the classroom. So these, I guess the research question has two parts. The first one is the targeted delivery of social management, which comes within social and emotional learning, which I'll get to in a moment. But the second aspect is actually the improvement of behaviour, and I listed the calling out, disobedience, poor concentration, disrespect, because those are the ones that have been highlighted within research as the most problematic or the most occurring of classroom management issues. So it's not only pre-service teachers, some existing teachers have problems with effective classroom behaviour. During a literature review, I've discovered that there is an issue with classroom management, and there has been a lot of research into how to effectively manage classroom behaviour, but not so much. I guess what I'm saying is we expect the children to behave in a certain manner in the classroom. We encourage them to behave in a certain way. There's a lot of ways to get them to do that for us. A lot of the time I think we have expectations of students to behave in a certain way without necessarily giving them the tools to do so, without equipping them with the necessary knowledge and behaviour tools to deliver us what we expect. There's been a lot of research on how social and emotional learning can improve academic outcomes. It's been shown that through cooperative learning, for example, through proper listening, skills like that academic outcomes can be improved. I think there is a gap, however, in the current knowledge, the current research around how social and emotional learning can be used to give children the skills to have better behaviour. And better behaviour in the classroom equates to improved classroom environment as far as concentration, distraction to other students, effective use of classroom time, those sort of classroom outcomes, I guess, that we're looking for. So there has been some research, Shriver and others have hinted at the fact that classroom management has had beneficial effects on classroom behaviour through the social and emotional learning, but not so much in it actually being used in a targeted approach to influence and regulate classroom behaviour. So that's why I thought that it would be interesting to look at how a targeted delivery of social and emotional learning can improve those classroom management outcomes. So I've decided to narrow it down in, so there's some aspects of social and emotional learning that, although help people to become a better person and have definite benefits for a range of reasons, don't necessarily relate to improved behaviour, because I guess giving somebody the opportunity and the tools to make decisions doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're going to make good decisions. For example, leadership skills can be taught, and they can be used in the classroom in the playground, for example, for ganging up, or actually used for bullying, because I think you'll find that most bullies are actually strong leaders. They encourage people to follow them. They are very articulate and quite directed with their bullying. So not all social emotional outcomes can be used to improve good behaviour. So I've narrowed it down to a field of social management, which are the type of skills, and team leading comes into it as well, but more about, I guess, active listening, the skills of paying attention, of being patient, of knowing when it is your turn to speak, the diversity, accepting diversity of others, and those sort of social skills that can give people empathy and understanding of what's going on in the classroom, and not be so, I guess, self-centred, which is particularly important for a grade 4 classroom, because at that development stage, grade 4s are quite aware of their own knowledge and abilities, often to the point of self-centeredness, because they are aware of what they're good at, they're aware of what they're bad at, and there really is, it's all about me. How is this task going to affect me? I want this answer, so therefore I'm going to call out. I want this to happen, so I'm going to demand it to happen. So those sort of behaviours are against what we want in the classroom. So by regulating how that occurs, to getting people to maybe express empathy, concern for others, understanding of others' point of view, how to work through a conflict or a disagreement in a mutually beneficial way, will just give people that moment to stop and think and consider how their actions are influencing others, and therefore flowing on to perhaps a more considered approach to their behaviour in the classroom. So the way I approach this will initially be, I guess, as establishing a baseline or a benchmark of what the behaviour is in the class already. So throughout a day, just a daily program, whilst either I or the regular classroom teacher are instructing, the other person will simply place a tally mark for every single behaviour that's listed. So every time somebody calls out, there will be a tally mark put in the calling out box for that lesson. Now, this is not attributed to individuals. This is going to be a whole class tally, and just getting an idea of the percentage of this disruptive behaviour and registering the occurrence of it within the classroom. That particular test will take place mid-term as well in week 5, and also at the end of the program in week 10, so that we can see if there's been any statistical improvement within the term plan. Also, I've developed a behaviour rubric that is an accepted behaviour rubric. It's been used by psychoanalysts and behaviourists in the past. And I'll sit down with a classroom teacher, work through each student individually, and basically put them on a rating scale based on their behaviour, to do with these core indicator behaviours that have been identified during the literature review. So we'll go through for each student and say, okay, this behaviour, how do they rate on a scale of, say, 1 to 10, 1 to 6, whatever it may be, and that will give us a numerical data point, again, for easy statistical analysis. That again won't be done mid-term, but will be done at the end of the assessment again. What will happen mid-term is the regular classroom teacher and I will just have a general discussion based around who we think's showing improvement, who we think's engaging with the lessons and the idea of the research, who's maybe straying off a bit, and this is an opportunity to tweak the plan, to make improvements and adjustments and things like that. So that's a start and a finish type assessment. Additionally, I plan to hold student interviews. That'll just be a very short interview regarding their behaviour within the classroom, trying to judge, I guess, a bit of a self-assessment of themselves in how they feel they go with those aspects of classroom management, their general feeling towards the research question, and also planning to develop a bit of an understanding of their prior knowledge as far as social emotional learning, social management, those sort of topic questions. So this will all be analysed. I'm going to take that at the beginning of the session and another interview at the end to see if ideas have changed, beliefs have changed throughout the delivery of the program. So obviously the first two, the recorded observation and the rating scale, can be numerically, just manipulate that data statistically, show some good graphs and figures that basically show us a clear cut, have these incidents of behaviour improved or worsened. The interview with the student and the self-reflection is a chance to, I guess, back up the numerical data with some dialogue, I guess. So that'll be recorded or notes taken, so that I can back up the numerical data with anecdotal evidence, I guess you would say. So that's, I guess, the assessment part and the data collection part. The implementation will take place over 9 weeks of a 10-week term. So starting in week 2, there'll be an introductory lesson where we just cover, what is social emotional learning, where does social management fit in on that learning. We'll cover the importance of it within a classroom and how it can affect both the classroom, the community, the student learners, that sort of thing. I'll also pose to them the research question, outline what our intention is, and just basically explain the whole process and set ourselves up for learning. Then there'll be a series of 7 weeks. Basically, we'll have a different topic for each week. At the start of the topic, there will be a 1-hour content lesson on the Monday, and that we'll construct some graphic organisers, we'll get together and do some activities based around the skill, and then throughout the week, for the remainder of the week, just the regular classroom lessons, whenever there's an activity, a reflection, a learning task, any sort of group activity, anything like that, where there is the opportunity to rehearse the skill that we've learnt about, it will be structured around practicing of that skill and give the students an opportunity to implement the skill that they've learnt on the Monday. Then on the Friday, we'll have a debrief session, basically, and a review of what's been happening, and go over that skill, see if we can add anything to our graphic organisers, basically draw the whole skill to a close at the end of the week. Throughout the week, I will have available a set area in the classroom where I'll have anchor charts, displays, I guess access to video clips and recordings, cartoons, visual aids, prompts about to start discussion and dialogue, any of those sort of things to really get the students to engage with the content, and also act as a reminder so that throughout other lessons when I'm teaching I can say, how does this go on the board? What are we looking at here? Isolate the task, reinforce the values, and really push that through. So I'm hoping that through development of this program and delivery of this program, I can really isolate a term of work that can be delivered to improve classroom behaviour, which is not just useful for my own teaching, but also teaching professionals that I'm working with. Perhaps I can share that wider to really improve this area that is such a big concern to pre-service teachers and new grads and even some established teachers, of just how do we create a proper environment, but also give the students the skills required to perform proper and correct classroom management that we're all looking for. So thank you very much for listening today. We will hopefully share some results of this research with you in due course. Thank you.